Hello everyone and welcome back to Cosmetic Chaos. Today we are going to do a little bit of a get ready with me. I have a really busy week and the last 2 weekends have been super busy, so I haven't been able to film. So I am going to do a get ready with me where I get ready before work. So I did buy a whole bunch of stuff in July and I've reorganized some of my makeup collection and done like a little bit of a shop my stash to try it out to see how that works for me, and include a lot of those products that I bought in July. So I'm going to use my Shop My Stash and my July purchases, and I will be having a ranking my July purchases coming up as well. So this is going to be a little bit of a preview to that. So let's jump into it because I'm running out of time. So I did mention this product in my favorites. This is the No Problem Prime Essence, and I truthfully have been using this like every single day. And I use this as my moisturizer slash primer for my primer. This came in BoxyCharm in June in the Boxy Luxe, and I pulled it out thinking I wouldn't think much of it, but I do really like how it works, and it's like been the most perfect type of primer. Like, it's truly like a primer essence, and I would say it works as exactly that. It sinks into the skin with still giving kind of like a veil between your makeup and your skin and your primer and your skin. And it's not like greasy. So in the summer I'm a little bit oilier because I do sweat quite a bit. I don't handle the heat very well, and this definitely has been helping with that. So I'm going to prime my eyes with the Urban Decay Primer Potion. Nothing new there. I am a creature of habit with some things. I did actually just get the Natasha Denona Sunrise palette in the mail yesterday, so I haven't even tried it yet. And I have to say, on behalf of Sephora, they've actually started to package their stuff much better. This came in like a box in a box, which I know is not great for the environment, but the last Natasha Denona palette I purchased from Sephora did come broken, and that was a Safari palette, so I was happy to see that this came intact. So I am going to take a shot at this palette on camera and you can kind of see my feelings on it. I've been wearing a ton of blue eyeshadow because I did pick up the Blue Moon palette. I've also been using the Huda Beauty Sapphire palette a lot. So in the last like 2 weeks, these are basically what has been all over my face. And I think I need to take a break from blue eyeshadow before people start confusing me for Mimi. So to start off, I'm going to go in with the shade Morgan. So there is quite a bit of kick up in the shade I'm using, which is the Morgan shade right there. Not totally uncommon for Natasha Denona, but also did catch me off guard just a little bit. I'm also really liking the size of this mirror, and then it actually lays flat. This is sticking to the primer quite a bit. So I'm going to go in with the shade Morning because it's the Morning, which is this shade right here, and I'm just going to blend that just above Morgan with the same brush. So I'm not like super pristine with any of this because these are just your like base lay down shades. Yeah, Morning does not kick up nearly as much. Am I the only one that's like, I'm gonna just do like a somewhat neutral eye, and then I start with something like this and I'm like, yeah, okay, we're on track, and just like bam, bright red. So I'm pretty sure that's where this is going. Literally all of my eyeshadow brushes are stained with blue. All of them. Okay, so we're gonna go in with the shade Jasper, which is this burnt kind of coppery orange. We're gonna put that in the outer corner. I feel like every time Natasha Denona puts out a palette, it just gets a little bit better every time. I know a lot of people didn't like the Safari palette, but I actually kind of like mine. And this one is even better. It's been pretty easy to use. I've been really loving palettes that kind of are very low effort. And even if the colors you use don't go together perfectly, they do still like work and blend together nicely, and that seems to be kind of where we're at here. Alright, so that's where we are at with our eyes. I'm going to go back into Morgan with that fluffy brush just to blend out the edges a little bit more. I'm not sure I want to continue with this orange, so I think I'm going to flip over to purple, and I'm going to go into the shade Aster, which is right the purple here. I don't have a lot of luck with shades like this, like what seems to be like a topper, so I'm hoping this is not a topper. I'm hoping it is actually a purple eyeshadow, which it is. I was worried this was going to end up being like one of those topper shades that's in like the James Charles and Morphe palette that really just gives like a sheen on top of other shadows. So there's lots of fallout in this shadow though, I will definitely say that, which I'm not in love with. Seriously, sometimes I do things to myself. Like right now, I know these colors, like they go together, but like not really. I would maybe recommend, it's not a glitter shade, but I would maybe recommend a glitter glue with this shade. It seems to fall apart, like it's not bound very well. So I've only gone into the shade Aster a few times, and it's looks very chunky. Oh, this little mongrel on my face is very unhappy as well. Okay, so we're just gonna dust off the fallout. Truthfully, I'm glad I tried that shade because it seriously altered my opinion of how this palette's put together. So Aster looks pretty, but not my favorite shade. I'm gonna go into Clove and just work that into those two shades to try and bring the orange and the purple together a little bit better. Alright, so it looks okay, and truthfully I'm not going anywhere today, so I may mess with it a little bit more once I get my eyeliner on, which is something I do quite frequently. I will do like an eyeshadow look and then throw the wing on that I will wear every day, because that's who I am as a person, and I will then decide how much more I'm gonna play with it. So moving on to the face products, I'm going to use the Charlotte Tilbury Wonder Glow. I haven't been buying too many primers since I bought this one because I do like it so much. It was also one of my favorites and definitely something that I reach for pretty much every day. I saw Smoky Glow use a brush to put on her primer, and truthfully, like, made me want to try it because my face goes so red the second that I touch it, and she did mention that as well. So I'm hoping that if I try and use a brush that maybe this won't happen anymore. Part of my Shop My Stash is a very old concealer. This is a Maybelline Fit Me, and I believe, yeah, medium 25. So I'm going to use that under my eyes as well as just some spot concealing, because we are in a tragic state of affairs as far as sleeping goes, and that mongrel on my face. So I don't conceal my nose, but I do drag concealer down it with whatever's left on my brush or my sponge, only because my nose gets really red too. I don't want it to have no redness because then it takes away kind of that natural look, but it does help my foundation stay there. And if there is anything, I do put it on my chin too, but not always. Basically, the name of the game, as far as I'm concerned, is concealer and getting rid of redness. So we're gonna go in with the Too Faced Peach Perfect Foundation. I've been using this a lot. It's also been in my favorites pretty consistently. Since I bought it, basically the only foundation I've been using. It's definitely like a matte foundation without being super drying. It has great coverage and amazing staying power. I cannot sing this praises enough. If I had to call out one of my game-changing products this year, it's definitely this foundation. 100% will repurchase. It's not something I bought in July, but it is something that I have bought fairly recently. I believe I bought it in the end of May or June, beginning of June. And considering how much I've been using it, I'm not going through it that fast. I do wish it was a little bit darker because, as you can see by my shoulders, I am much darker than I was. The ears are coming out because my frizz is coming out. Do you see why I conceal my chin? Okay, so one of the products in my Shop My Stash is this Stay Matte powder from Rimmel. This is in the shade Sandstorm. Also just slightly too light, but I'm trying to use it up because it's almost gone. I'm also apparently trying to throw it on the floor. It also broke apart. I can't even believe that. Just on camera. That shit only happens on camera, I swear. So I'm just pressing this in to my face. And I think this paired with that foundation does really help in making the foundation stay. I've used the foundation without powder as well. It still stays well, but you do start to see like the shininess through my T-zone without powder. But it just goes shiny, it doesn't come off, whereas other foundations actually break up and come off. I think this video kind of makes me laugh because there's so many products I've talked about so many times, so many times, especially recently. So I'm going to go in with the contour wand from Charlotte Tilbury. This one is in the shade Fair Medium, and this is how I've been darkening up my mug. So I just kind of go in here like this, and then across my forehead, and then I kind of leave it like that, because if I put on too much and then I go to try and blend it out, I can't actually get it to blend because it starts to dry. So we're going to blend this in. I love this product, and I feel like I use a lot of Charlotte Tilbury now, which I never used to do before, but it's totally worth it. Like, I feel like her products are out of this world. Like, that whole Hollywood glam thing she's got going on is 100% true. I always feel glam as fuck when I wear her products, and they are fairly low effort. Not to mention, they're just like blending like a dream and making you look all nice and shit. So, like, see right here, you can see a little bit, the two top dots. I probably should have just done my cheeks and then done my forehead. When I go to do my nose, I actually just touch the brush on the little sponge on top here, because I have found if I put it directly on my nose, it's too stark. Whereas this is not so stark. If I want to be real skinny, I also pull one of these underneath. And let's be real, I want to be real skinny. So I just kind of blend this into my jawline and blend it down. I know you're not necessarily supposed to blend it down for like the contour idea of it, but for darkening up my situation to match my arms just a little bit better, I feel like this is necessary and helpful. Alright, so that's where we're at with the makeup look so far. The other reason I like this a lot is it kind of adds to your blush. So I could go without blush now just because my face is naturally red. I'm not going to because I like blush and I like makeup, and that's why we're all here. So recently I was at Winners and I actually saw they had all the Tutti Frutti collection. I already had the Raspberry palette, but I picked up 3 of the blush duos as well as the pineapple palette. This I have some weird feelings on. I'm just going to touch on it very quickly. So this palette is the Sparkling Pineapple, and I just want to call out this shade here. See that weird dip in it? I've only used that shade one time, and it was like the pan fell in on itself. It's very, very weird. Like, that's a good shot of it right there. It's literally like the pan fell in on itself. So I used all the shades to do the look that I did, and that's the only shade that looks like that. So the implication to me is that that was not either packed well or that the ingredients in it were starting to disintegrate. That's another story though. That's another story for another day. I'm going to go in with the Pomegranate blush duo that's going to pull out some of the purple shades from my eye look. So these are very nice. I actually like all 3 of them. The Apricot in the Act is not nearly as pigmented as the other 2 that I have. This is really nice. I'm sure I'm going to like this better when I'm paler, but because I am so dark right now, these 2 are definitely where my heart has been, and this is Cherry Bomb, and again, this is Pomegranate. Plum. I know it's not Plume, I know it's Plum. So I just tap on both sides and then do one of these. I think these were actually pretty underrated. Not a lot of people like them. And I can see why, like, a lot of people don't love when they have like sparkle in their blushes, which I don't typically like that either, but something about these actually works for me. When I do bounce the brush back and forth, I kind of wonder if the sparkles fall out or like the glitter falls off my brush as I do that bounce. But I just like how it looks, and I feel like a lot of blushes don't show up that well on me unless I really dig in, and then I feel like I end up with this like big streak of product, and I don't really want that either. So I do want to touch on brows just quickly. When I got up this morning, I don't know why I did this, but I put on this Anastasia Beverly Hills Dip Brow Gel very quickly. So my eyebrows are sort of done, but not really. This will be really great for like a no makeup look because it doesn't look like my eyebrows are done, but it darkens them and makes them look a little bit fuller. My eyebrows on their own are really, really sparse and very light considering my hair color, but I am gonna go in with the ColourPop brow pencil. Let me get the actual name. This is in Ash Brown. It's a Brow Boss. And I'm gonna just thicken them up just slightly. I am a lazy eyebrow person, like hella lazy eyebrow person. So if you're here for like a brow tutorial, I'm not your girl. So this is a super tiny pencil, kind of like the Anastasia Beverly Hills Brow Wiz, but I think if I remember correctly, because I haven't used Brow Wiz in quite some time, this one is quite a bit more pliable. I found with the Brow Wiz that sometimes it ripped my eyebrow hairs out. Not always, but it would just catch the right way on a dry pencil, and that would kind of be the end of it. If I had to choose between a really thin, tiny hair-like stroking pencil like this one, or the like more brow definer type, I think I would probably rather this, even though the brow definer goes faster. I have a few pencils like that have that like triangle tip, and I don't like them as much. I don't feel like I have enough control over them. So I did want to support Samantha March and her collab with Ofra, so I did actually pick up her highlight as well as her 3 nude lipstick trio. You know. So I'm going to use the March Beauty Word highlight from Ofra, which is 2 of their current highlights put together. I've actually only ever had like 1 or 2 highlights from Ofra, but this one is really, really pretty and definitely something you can see from space. So we're gonna go in and we're gonna go like real hard. And the pink is going to definitely play off of the pink in the highlight is going to play off the purple in my blush. So I can now be seen from space, and it's actually so bright. It is messing with my camera and its lighting, so that's funny. I'm just gonna toss a little here. I've been really about face makeup lately, like really about it, and that's not normally been me. I'm normally very big on like big eyes, big eyeshadow, and like big wings and whatever. But like I've just really been liking not really big eyes lately. Like it's still big for some people, but for me it's a little bit tamer. So I'm going to go in with the ColourPop Color Me Fine liquid eyeliner in red. I have not used this one yet. I have used the blue one and been loving it. Like I said, I've been wearing a lot of blue lately, but let's see how it goes. So I'm gonna do what I normally do and just do my eyeliner off camera. I'm always out of frame, so there's no point. You're not gonna miss anything. I'll be right back. Okay, so my eyeliner is on. I did actually think this was gonna be like red, but it's not. It's more maroon, and I almost like that better. It's like a burnt orangey maroon. So the pack of eyeliners did come with 6, and I have tried the blue, the red, and I have swatched them all. I know the feedback on these eyeliners weren't amazing the first time they came around, but I actually kind of wonder if they reformulated them, because a lot of the feedback was that they were chunky. So you would put them on, they would dry, and then they would start to flake off and kind of get chunky and break apart. The ones I've tried, I haven't noticed that. Even the swatches that I left on my hand didn't do that, and my hand was washed, and I was like working around with them on my hand, and they were not flaking off. So I do so far recommend these eyeliners. I do really like them. and I think that they really add something to the look. I do also want to call out that the purple in the eyeshadow is starting to transfer onto my lid, which I'm not in love with. I've had to clean it up already once, and I'm just gonna go in and clean it up a little tiny bit more using that shade Morgan in here. I don't hate it by any means, but if you are really bothered by transfer or like to do really defined eye looks, which I obviously don't, mine are always hella blended, I'm not a cut crease girl, that might bother you about this palette. So I am gonna go in with the shade Las Olas from the Samantha March and Ofra collection. She did not create the shades, they were already existing, but she did curate the little collection together. I feel like in my laziness, I haven't really been wearing a lot of liquid lipsticks and like darker lipsticks. I've been wearing a lot of lip gloss. This matches this eyeliner so well. I'm so glad I chose this lip product to wear with this eyeliner because it just makes the eyeliner pop out even more. Okay, so I'm going to toss on some mascara, but my battery is about to die, so I hope you like this look. Overall, I'm liking everything. My least favorite so far is definitely that palette. So I hope you enjoyed this Get Ready With Me. I hope you enjoy the rest of your day. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you later.